Welcome back, everybody. Today's video is going to be a meta update while also mixing it in with what do you do when you took a break from Dota and you're coming back, especially on a new patch, just like I've been taking a break because I was on vacation. How do we get ourselves back in the groove? What's going on in the current meta? We're giving you the best of both worlds. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, what do I do when I'm coming back? Highly recommend Dota 2 Pro Tracker. Open it up right away. We're going to see all the win rates of heroes. And you're going to say, BSJ, if you look at it, these are all win rates from more than just when the patch 7.37b came out. Yes, I understand. But what we can see, if it's absolutely a new patch, is we can take a brief look at, okay, what was good as of yesterday? These heroes were winning. Then we can pull up the meta for 7.36b and see what heroes are suddenly popping up. Which heroes overlap? For instance, I saw Omni Knight on the previous one. I see Omni Knight here as well. We saw Ember at the top. He's looking at a 51% win rate. Still in the new patch. Tinker absolutely busted last patch. Like, he was the heal bot for 2 weeks. Where is he looking? Because they nerfed that aspect of him. He is at a 48% win rate now. So suddenly, even though it's a small sample size of games, he went from 57% to 48%. We are seeing that the new patch clearly had an effect on some of the most meta heroes in the game, but overall, it is yet to be settled exactly what is good right now because there's such a small sample size. So we have to mainly stick to what happened yesterday, meaning before 7.37b, during 7.37, except for the heroes that got changed massively. So to note, the patch was a small letter patch. I'm not even going to read it for you. If you want to check out the exact changes to what happened to your heroes, I'd say the majority of the changes were negligible, except for Ember Spirit and Tinker specifically, who were getting picked a ton in games. And so my hero grid, my strategy moving from 7.37b forward has really not changed all that much, except for those two heroes specifically. With that in mind, let's go ahead and check out exactly, what's getting picked, what's broken, why it's broken, how we're going to approach coming back from a break. So we see all of these heroes. So in my bracket, I am stuck playing every single role sometimes. So I try to prepare myself to play any given role. I tend to have a section for every role, and I also have a section for heroes to worry about in the draft that I either think they changed the game drastically, like Tinker, for instance, changes the way you have to play the game. Ursa gives them like a ton of single target physical burst. Enigma Black Hole, you're getting the drift. So it's either broken heroes and or heroes that I feel like I need to make sure I'm ready for based on the pick I have, so that I'm either not hard countered or like I'm considering it when I look at the enemy heroes draft. These type of habits really get me in tune with the meta, kind of force me to check in with myself, especially when I'm coming back from a break. I need to make sure like, okay, these are clearly the 6 most broken heroes. And then as time goes on, I'm going to add heroes that are annoying me in my games. I'm losing to them a bunch of times in a row, anything like this. So I've added a few heroes since the start of the patch, generally right when 7.37 comes out, like a bigger patch. The bigger the patch, the more I'm going to constrict my hero pool. The more variables that are different right now, we need to have that be limited, right? We need to be limiting like all of the overload, especially when we're coming back from a break. I'd be doing like 1 or 2 heroes per role maximum just to start off, just to get your feet wet. You know what I'm saying? So when I think of like what heroes I'm going to do, I'm going to have more willingness to be flexible when it's a role that I play a shit ton of, like carry, while I'm going to be a meta slave when it comes to roles that are not my main role. So we look at each role individually. It's really important that you don't just blindly say, wow, Marcy, 60% win rate at carry. I had a few people come to my stream saying that. It's really important that you also, really important, you look at how many games this hero's been played. Because if this hero has a bajillion games, Ursa for instance, there you go. If this hero has a bajillion games like Ursa, still rocking a 51% win rate, then you know that that hero is generically good. Like, the more games they're getting picked, the more generically good they are. While if they have few games like Marcy, then either they're super good against certain meta heroes, or in the case of Marcy, when paired with Io, she's going to be really strong. So be very careful about blindly putting the heroes that are not your strong suit in your hero pool just because they're up here. Please factor in how many matches they have, and also maybe ask yourself, if there's less matches, why would they be more situational? Because that's an assumption you can make. And then when you're looking at these generic heroes, understanding that you can focus on playing your own hero and learning to play it well, watching some replays, and you'll probably be able to win more than 50% of games. Like you saw Ursa, you're seeing Lena, 1,700 games. Lena carries clearly back, right? So that's when you just pull up a Lena replay. You search up here for one of your favorite professional players playing Lena, watch one replay, put Lena in your hero pool, and just pick it. Because it's a reliable carry, clearly, that's going to win you more than 50% of your games if you know what you're doing. It's really important. We mentioned the win rate and the amount of matches you're playing. And also, it's important to consider if you think the hero is a specialty hero. It's like, if I go to the mid lane and I see Broodmother, you know, cover your eyes, NSFW, let's just look at BSJ's Broodmother. Last game of BSJ Broodmother was 2015. So if I'm looking at Broodmother in the meta heroes for the mid lane right now, my choice is I'm either going to spam the shit out of her, because if she's a meta hero, then now's the best time to learn her. Same with a hero like Marcy right there, but then I need like a duo queue with a IO player, for instance. But I'm going to either learn the shit out of her, or I'm just simply going to be aware that she's potentially going to show up in my games, and then I'm never going to play her. Some tips for when you're coming back, for when you're playing a new patch: don't play too many heroes. Don't play heroes that are specialty heroes that are either not your vibe or you don't intend to grind the shit out of them. And don't pick heroes that you're not specialized at unless they're in these top 10. These are basically you go to a restaurant, you get a menu. If you're looking for a menu of heroes to learn right now, this is all you gotta do. You know, I'd comfortably say stick to the top 10. Maybe the top 10 based on how many matches they have. And, you know, based on having a remotely decent win rate. Like, SF has a insane amount of games with a low win rate. So it's like, these are the things where it's like, out of these, you pick the ones with the most games, and you're like, oh, Primal might be a good patch to learn him. Oh, Leshrac, 1,700 games, might be a good patch to learn him. That's how I think about Dota, and I think basically not giving free losses on a new patch when you're coming back from a break is the key to enjoying yourself, winning. Obviously, if you're not losing, you're winning. BSJ, you teach us so much. Thank you for that, buddy. But it's mainly about the enjoyment of, I don't feel like helpless 20 minutes in because I didn't have a plan. I haven't played this hero very much, right? So I go through each tab, looking at what's currently meta right now, and for whatever role I'm playing, you can see my hero grid and say, oh, Leshrac, I love, since I don't play a lot of support, to just flex one support between the two. Leshrac's getting played support right now because they made his Edict facet that doesn't damage towers, that damages heroes only, tick faster. So the amount of damage it dishes out is absolutely nutty. You can buy like Blink, or you can Mana Boots Blink Glimmer and just get in there. Whatever item allows you to push W, get on top of them and run them down. That's how you play the early game. That's how you play the mid game. And then you can kind of build utility later, right? As a support Leshrac. But your damage output is absolutely insane, and that's what makes support Leshrac good right now. And then I like to have at least one melee hero. Marcy could be debatably a 4, but since I'm playing support, I'm also probably first picking. So especially for support players in general, but especially if you're a core player playing support, you can just kind of have a really small pool and just pick instantly. The only time that this becomes a problem is when everybody's doing what I'm saying, which actually happens on my bracket a lot, and then Leshrac's getting dual banned every game, and then Jakiro's getting dual banned every game, and I have to have a third hero. And that's the only time I'm going to add a hero. And so what this hero grid teaches you on a new patch to maintain awareness for yourself is every hero's here for a reason. I have 2 heroes because that's all I need for support. I added a third one because I realized those 2 heroes weren't enough. If you know exactly why the heroes are here in your pool, then you will be able to effectively pick correctly in your games and feel confident that you at least kind of know what's going on. Because when there's a bunch of missing variables, a bunch of crazy shit happening right now, then the most important thing is you know what you're doing with your hero and you at least have some semblance of a plan. Are you with me, guys? So when it comes to carry, these are the carries that I'm really favoring. Ursa received a bit of nerf, but he's still very strong, above 50% win rate, and there's a lot of games being picked of him. DK feels like the reliable Sven right now, the Fire Dragon DK form. The build is like Armlet. A lot of people are going either Blink if you need to be active after the Armlet, or they're going Sanj and Yasha as a more hybrid farm speed / also decent for fighting build. But yeah, he's much more of a right clicker. You can build to just freaking chunk people because your ult level 3 gives like 120 damage. I really like Wraith King with the Skellies more so than I like him with the Spectral Blade. That's why I have him here. I feel like he's really good just in general if you need a carry that helps push lanes and takes towers in the early to mid game. He also feels pretty reliable. That's why I like him right now. There's also seemingly a lot of burst damage heroes. And for specific matchups like Doom, I really like him, obviously. Lifestealer, I'm trying out the Unfettered facet, so that's why I have him there. Luna, I really like the beam build right now, meaning you take the facet for defensiveness, the moon shield one, but can basically not jeopardize your farm and max out beam, right? You can go 4-1-1 or like 3-1-3 or something between your builds, and even consider taking Eclipse at level 6 because of the fact that your aura, your passive from before, is now you're an 8, so you get free skill points. It's not as much damage early, but my build on Luna is generally like Yasha, Dragonlance Yasha into Manta, and you're much more about participating early, being able to show up to pushes, showing up to team fights, because you have damage reduction resistance with your second skill at the beginning of the game rather than having it after the 15 minutes when you buy a shard. So you're much tankier early, and when you buy these stat items, you're really hard to bring down. And overall, your beam is really solid mid-game damage output. Wind Ranger, I'm trying the Sprinkler build. I call the Sprinkler build with Whirlwind. It was nerfed slightly. Clearly, it was good or something in 7.37b. But Wind Ranger feels like just a really reliable laner right now. I feel like all three of these ranged heroes are just good laners, including Lina. I think Lina's a lot more susceptible to ganks. She may have a tougher time if you feel like your pub teammates aren't really looking out for your own good. Like if you're getting roamed on by a mid as Wind Ranger, you're much less likely to die, or like a support going through the gate, than you are as Lina. So this is just something super important to consider, that like if you're looking at the enemy lineup, they look like they're going to run around the map a lot. I would lean away from picking Lina for that reason. And then when I look at the offlane, Axe was my go-to before the patch. I do think the counter helix radius nerf is actually a pretty big deal, because like a lot of heroes, even like Monkey King, his attack range is now outside of counter helix. These little matchup shifts are just a big deal. But I like to have a lot of heroes in the offlane. I like to have the 2 signature melee guys that I'm going to pick first if they're in the pool, 2 signature ranged hero guys, and if I'm last overall picking, maybe some situational picks where like I see a Lina that's going to kill herself on Blade Mail, or I see like a melee hero that can't trade with Slark, and that's how I'm viewing that. I always like to have 1 or 2 flex heroes. You see Wind Ranger getting picked in both, Sand King getting picked in both. Quap, she has a lot of games. We saw her win rate was 48%. The Masochist build with like an early Dagon feels really strong to me right now. I haven't won every single game with it, but it does feel strong, and I'm enjoying trying it out because it's a different way to play Quap, so you can definitely watch 1 or 2 replays if you're checking out like the new way to play Quap. She's very different than before. It's usually 0-4-4, playing for farm, getting that Dagon for mid-game burst, and counteracting the damage you do to kill yourself with your Masochist. That's how I approach the patch. There's a few heroes I'm kind of keeping on my radar for now, but you pretty much saw everything that I'm looking at. The meta, have a combination of heroes you specialize in, have a combination of heroes that are just at the top of the list in terms of broken win rates and games played, but don't have any heroes that are neither of those things. Don't be learning a new hero that's not in the meta right now. Don't be playing a hero like once that you've never played before. These are the type of things where you're either hardcore learning it because it's meta, or you're not playing at all. Even if it is meta, you're just aware that it's meta. So much of playing the meta properly is playing to your own strengths, like really catering to your own awareness of what's good right now. So there's a lot of different approaches. You don't have to be able to play every meta hero. I feel like I'm getting a lot of people that feel pressured by default to play every meta hero in the game. That's definitely not how it is. And we got to encourage critical thinking and, you know, doing our own way of what works best for us within this community. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be keeping you guys posted on more and more meta updates since I'm back now. Like, comment, subscribe. Come talk to me on Twitch if you want to ask me questions directly. Twitch.tv/BananaSlamJamma. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.